Starting to know you, my love. Chapter 1. In the White family home sat a beautiful and innocent-looking woman by the name of Jennifer Young. Dressed in an exquisite gown, Jennifer fiddled with a tea set on the coffee table. She grabbed a teacup and thrust it clumsily at the person seated opposite her. "Had have some tea." While she stuttered, saliva trickled out of the corner of her mouth. Yet perhaps the most eye-catching thing about her was the set of intersecting scars on her face. "He's having me marry a fool so that he can express his gratitude." Mitchell White ignored the childish woman before him as he flipped through a report on Jennifer Young. Then, he tossed the report aside while his mood turned sour. His expression hardened further as he recalled her IQ results. IQ is equal to 50. Mitchell could not deny that her looks were utterly incomparable. Still, the sight of her trickling saliva was a turn-off. "The butler, James Ward, explained. Old Mr. White said that Miss Jennifer saved his life. So, however," he trailed off mid-sentence. A month earlier, Mitchell's grandfather, Montgomery, had gone missing in the mountains during an ancestral pilgrimage. The Whites had spent several days searching for him in vain. Just as the situation seemed dire, Montgomery was carried home by a young woman, safe and alive. The woman was none other than Jennifer Young, who was seated opposite Mitchell. "So what? He's offering his grandson's hand in marriage as thanks." Mitchell maintained his frosty demeanor while he got up from the couch. He could not be bothered to even spare a glance at Jennifer as he ordered, "Get her out of here." "Mr. Mitchell, but Miss Young is already married to you." As he said this, James whipped out the damning marriage certificate. Having expected Mitchell's objections, Montgomery had preemptively gotten the marriage certificate, leaving no room for his grandson to protest. The living room descended into an eerie silence at Jim's revelation. In a rage, Mitchell snatched the offending piece of paper from Jamison and took a look at it, wishing he could tear the certificates apart and render the marriage void. Meanwhile, James could only lower his head without saying any word. As a ruthless and prominent businessman, Mitchell's private life naturally invited gossip from the public. Rumors swirled about the reason for his bachelorhood at 32 years of age. In a bid to quash these rumors once and for all, Montgomery forced Mitchell down the aisle. No one could have imagined that he would marry his oldest grandson off to a dim-witted woman. "If you don't like tea, what about a lollipop?" Right then, Jennifer suddenly got up from her position near the coffee table and approached Mitchell. She stared at him with puppy eyes, holding a lollipop out as a peace offering. The moment Mitchell met her gaze, he felt goosebumps break out all over his skin. His germophobia flared, and he immediately grabbed her outstretched hand before the sticky lollipop could touch his clothes. "What are you standing around for? Bring her away. Clean this up." Mitchell barked at James as he planned to shrug off Jennifer. Before he could move, however, Jennifer burst into heavy sobs and clung to his arm like a limpet. "Hubby, why do you hate me? I only want to feed you a lollipop." Tears streamed down her face as she wailed. In the next instant, she had wiped her tears and snot on Mitchell's suit. He stared at her wordlessly while James struggled to keep his laughter in check. "Hubby, don't make me leave. I promise I'll be a good girl and listen to you." Jennifer's arms seemed unusually strong for her small stature, and Mitchell was stunned when he was unable to pry her arms off. In fact, his arms had started cramping from the effort. At the same time, her awful endearment caused his frown to deepen. Thanks for listening to the Bravonovel audiobook. Welcome to download the Bravonovel app. Read the novel Starting to Know You, My Love online and get the latest updates.